Most students treat an exam as finished once the paper is handed in. In this module, we'll do the opposite. You'll learn how to dissect every mistake, turn it into a clear new rule, and gradually convert lost marks into reliable future points. Many students see a returned exam as a verdict. They glance at the score, feel good or bad, then shove it away. When that happens, the same timing problems, misreads, and slips show up again. A pro treats every paper as data. Notice patterns, label each type of mistake, and add it to a checklist. Scores only show what happened. Careful analysis explains why. That's the skill we'll build. Let's challenge a common belief. I lost marks because I'm careless. That word is a trap. It makes the problem about your personality, not your process. Misreading a question, rushing a calculation, flipping a sign, or forgetting a unit are all system bugs. In this course, we'll learn to spot those bugs and fix the process instead of blaming ourselves. Here's the system that quietly turns every bad exam into your training partner. After any test, don't just ask, "What was my score?" Ask three things. What exact questions did I lose marks on? Why did I lose them? Timing, misread, careless step, weak concept, and most important, what new rule or habit will stop this happening again? That last step is where marks are recovered because every mistake gets converted into a practical rule for the next exam. When you review a past paper, don't waste time copying the whole question. Capture its DNA instead. Write the question number, then quickly note three things: the topic, the difficulty, and the context of your mistake. For example, Q12, physics velocity graph, medium, guessed under time pressure. This takes seconds, but later it reveals clear patterns about which topics and situations keep costing you marks. Next, add the second column of your error log, the diagnosis. Here you're not asking, was it wrong? But what kind of wrong was it? Was it a concept gap, a misread question, a procedure mistake, or a tiny detail slip? Naming the exact type turns a bad mark into a clear action you can fix next time. Now we turn each mistake into brain code. Telling yourself, be more careful next time, changes nothing. Instead, write an if then rule that starts with a trigger and ends with a tiny action. For example, if I see a graph, I will check the axis labels first. Or, if I see a velocity time graph, I immediately write area or slope. Clear. Specific rules are what actually run during the exam. Let's walk through an example. The original question was about a velocity time graph asking for displacement. The student just read a value on the axis instead of using the area under the graph. In the error log, that becomes a procedure or concept mistake, and we create a new rule. For any VT graph, always decide first, do they want displacement from area or acceleration from slope? Every repeated mistake needs a stronger rule. Think of three levels. First, it lives in your head. I must remember to check units. That usually isn't enough. Next, upgrade it to a written reminder at the top of your paper. You'll see it each time you turn a page. If you still mess it up, convert it into a physical action, like always circling units in your final answer. Physical habits are hardest to forget. Set aside a short weekly review. Sit down with your recent tests or practice papers and quickly scan your errors. Don't overcomplicate it. Just ask, what keeps repeating? Maybe it's missing units, misreading words like not, or always rushing the last 5 minutes. Circle only your top 3 enemy patterns for that week. Next week, you'll design tiny rules or checklists that specifically attack those three. That's how progress becomes automatic. Here's how to think about progress with this system. Scores usually don't jump overnight. What changes first is the data underneath, the number of silly mistakes, the questions you leave blank, the times you run out of minutes. As those problem counts drop test after test, your total score line slowly turns upward. So after every practice, don't only ask, "What mark did I get?" Ask, "Which mistakes disappeared this time?" When the same mistake keeps happening, don't blame your IQ. Treat it like debugging. First, ask, "Is this a knowledge issue?" If you genuinely don't understand the concept, fix the learning, textbook, teacher, extra practice. If the concept is clear, is it a process issue? Maybe your exam method is messy or slow. Redesign the steps. If both are fine, it's probably behavior, rushing, daydreaming, panic. Change habits, not effort. A mental cheat sheet is just your top few rules you want active in your brain before the exam starts. Keep it short, 5 to 7 items max. Focus on mistakes you actually make. For example, reading words like not carefully, checking units, or watching signs in calculations. Write this list at home, not in the exam hall. Then, in the last 5 minutes before every exam, quietly review it and visualize using it. Think of your post exam routine as a loop that never stops. First, extract mistakes while the exam is still fresh. Quickly fill your error log with what went wrong and why. Next, convert each important mistake into a simple rule you can actually follow next time. Then, review that log every week to spot patterns. Finally, refine your pre exam checklist using those rules, so every new exam is slightly smarter than the last. Your exam results are not your identity. Mistakes are just information about what to improve next time. When you log errors, turn them into rules, and practice these strategies, you're training a performance skill. Keep refining your system, and your scores will steadily catch up with your potential.